Good evening. Welcome to the October edition of Dream with Dan. We are very excited to have Fire Chief Rob Mead with us tonight, as well as Muncie Sanitary District Administrator John Barlow. So we will be going over some general city updates and then hearing from these two departments. And after that, we will open up the floor for some questions. My name is Michelle Owen. I am the City Communications Director, and I will be moderating tonight. If you are tuning into the live stream, I will do my best to ask all of the questions as they come in. If I miss any due to technical reasons, I will do my best to follow up with you personally later just to make sure that we get your questions answered. But we will go ahead and open up this month with a city update from Mayor Dan Ridenour.
To hold the mic. Thank you, Michelle. And we appreciate those who are watching, and we look forward to being able to answer your questions. I'll give you a brief update of some of the things that are going on, and then the others will give updates, and we'll get to your questions here shortly. So appreciate you tuning in. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about, and I didn't look at their lists of what they're going to talk about, so hopefully I'm not stealing something. But in conjunction with the Sanitary District, we are working on Store Estates, and that is nearing the point where they will be putting in the streets. So they'll beginning to get that paved. So that will be a great step. It will then look much more like an actual subdivision instead of several mounds of dirt. But they've been doing the Sanitary District, the builder in conjunction with the Sanitary District has been doing some things underground to that system so that we can help improve some of the drainage issues that have happened in that and other neighborhoods. In addition, we're adding 34 single-family building lots, and we're adding an additional smaller neighborhood park. So we're excited about all of that, and it's getting to the point where it's going to start really taking shape, so we're excited about that. So be on the lookout. That is at the site of this old Store Elementary, and it is just off of Tillotson and Euclid. So we're real excited about that, but I wanted to give you an update that in the next couple of weeks that should be paved. The Gilman store on the south side is now open. Every time I drive by, there seem to be a large number of cars there, so that is great. We're happy that the south side and the rest of the city are supporting the Gilman store. It has sparked some other things there on the south side, which is one of the things that we had hoped. But it also provides a real nice opportunity for those who need materials for home improvement and other home activities and lumber to be able to get that on the south side rather than having to drive all the way up to the northwest side. So we're excited about what that means, and we're excited that it has been received so well, and look forward to that moving forward. The City View 1 and City View 2, which are two housing scattered site lots that we're putting together, which will have some single-family homes, but also some townhomes will be going in on some of these sites. That is due to start next month. There have been some title issues that we've been working through. That's just about cleared up and just about ready to go. So we're excited that we'll see the construction on some of those lots. Most of these were places that had dilapidated homes years ago that were then taken over by the city. We demolished the houses. The city has been holding the lots. They did not sell to neighbors or other people at that particular time, but we were able to package those together to a builder, and that builder is putting in some homes on those lots. So we're excited about the opportunity to have new homes in our community. These will be primarily in the Thomas Park, Avondale neighborhood, South Central neighborhood, and Industry neighborhood. So they'll be primarily in those areas, and we're real excited about the investment in those. Riverbend Flats, which is at the corner of Burlington and Memorial, is another project that is nearing completion. Most of the exterior work is done. They're still finishing up the parking lot. They have to build the clubhouse, and I know they're going to have a little playground for the residents, for the children of the residents. So we're excited about that 60-unit apartment complex that's going up. It is providing some workforce and affordable housing options for citizens, and we're real excited that that will be available. It also sparked some additional investment. If you can remember that there was an old bank location, it was a bank branch location that was right across the street from where these apartments are being built, and that has since been purchased and torn down, and there will be a new restaurant going in there. It's going to be a Pizza King, but we're real excited about how that helped spark Pizza King's interest in being in that area, and it's also pretty close to where we are attempting to put together the transaction that will create an East Side hotel at the exit ramp of Memorial and US 35, so the bypass. So those will all be good positive things for the east side and the southeast side, and so we're looking forward to those occurring. As far as parks have been a big focus of us. This administration, we have tried to make a definite effort to improve all areas of the city. So we currently have put in splash pads into existing parks at both Cooley on South Mock Street and also at Halteman on the northwest side. We have under construction at the Riverview Park, which is Bunch Boulevard, in that area, right along the White River Greenway. That park, you're beginning to see it. I believe that some of the parking has already been placed there. They have dug out and are in process of putting in the splash pad. But I will tell you that park's not going to be finished until next spring because of delays in getting the playground equipment. So we tore out the old playground equipment, which was many decades old and probably unsafe. So we did tear that out. We've ordered the new, but it is not due in until probably about January. So we'll be putting that in the spring. We appreciate Carl Malone, our park superintendent's efforts on that, and also Dustin Clark, who's running that particular project. But know that that's coming. And then next year, we're also planning a splash pad at Thomas Park, the Thomas Park over on Memorial. So that will be where the fourth splash pad will be, so that we will then have one on the southeast, southwest, northeast, and northwest sides of the city. And we were able to get the one at Toohey Pool up and running again with a new base this year. So we'll have 5 splash pads going forward after next year. So we're interested and excited about that. And then I don't know if Chief Mead was going to be talking about Trunk or Treat, but that's coming up here on the 31st on Halloween from 6 to 8 p.m. right here at City Hall. Will be an opportunity for your children to get all dressed up, come in their costumes, and get some fabulous candy. There will be some other opportunities, some fun things, some good giveaways. We've had this event for a couple of years now, and it's been very, very successful. And so we look forward to that on Halloween. That is a week from Monday is when that will happen. There are some other Halloween activities that will be occurring. Let's see. So I know this Saturday from 6 to 8, I believe, or 5 to 8, at Heacon Park, there will be another Trunk or Treat event. So please take advantage of that. So we've got a lot going on, and we appreciate everything that people are doing. We continue to work on the streets. We continue to work on, we've got a sidewalk crew now put together. They've been having some good results. We have our own street repair crew. We're excited about that. So we bought our own milling machine and our own paver, and we've done a couple of streets. We're working on another one right now on the north side. And we are getting better and better and training and getting those employees ready to move forward. We're looking forward to next year where we can do a lot of those neighborhood streets with our own equipment. It's less expensive, and we don't have to wait for the contractors to have the availability to do the work. So we're really excited about that opportunity as well. So that's a brief overview of some of the things that are going on. And I look forward to questions in the future, but I'll turn it back over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Mayor. Always exciting to hear everything that's going on in the city. I think we'll go ahead and pass the mic to Chief Mead at this point, and you can give us some updates on the fire department.
Hello, my name is Robert Mead. I'm the fire chief with the city of Muncie. We are very busy in the month of October. The month of October obviously is not only Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it's also Fire Safety Awareness Month. So our units are out visiting churches and schools and child care facilities all across the city, as well as giving tours of our fire stations to teach the children about fire safety, giving them helmets and coloring books, stuff like that, and then allowing them to see our apparatus, which they thoroughly enjoy, which we do every year. As the mayor stated, trunk or treat, we're gearing up for that on October 31st here at City Hall. We'll have, our fire apparatus up here. The police have a lot of units that are going to be stationed up here. There's candy and hot dogs. It's a great time to come out. We enjoy it. The fire department loves doing stuff like that, interacting with the community. We have been extremely busy as far as the city doing our special events. We just concluded with the Ironman event, which went off beautifully. And I know it can sometimes be an inconvenience if you live around Prairie Creek, but there's a lot of planning and a lot of effort to go into the stuff that people don't really see, where the police units are staged and the fire units are staged and all of the organization that goes in with that. And that being said, we also do Ball State football games that we have to throw the logistics in with that as well. So we're extremely busy with the fire department, and I look forward to questions too.
Thank you, Chief Mead. And we'll go ahead and move right into sanitary district updates.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Mayor, for having me today. And thank you, Chief. My name is John Barlow. I'm the district administrator for the Muncie Sanitary District. Just a little something about myself. I was born, raised, and live here in Muncie. My wife and two sons are all Ball State alumni, so we're looking for a fourth win Saturday at homecoming, so chirp, chirp. I've been with the Muncie Sanitary District for 40 years, which amazes me just to say it. But I started at the Water Pollution Control Facility in 1982 as a custodian laborer, and I moved into various positions out there until I became superintendent. And now I'm district administrator for the sanitary district. We've got 8 departments, about 145 employees, and we've got several things going on right now that I can just update you on. I'll start out with stormwater projects. So there are various parts, neighborhoods, areas in town that have been identified, some identified years and decades ago, with some issues that we're going to try to tackle, and you might be in one of those areas going like, well, it's about time. Well, that's probably true, but what you have to do is just try to figure this out and get the money in place and then tackle them. So I'll mention a few that we've already have planned and designed to do. One is a stormwater project in the Linn-Mar area, which is Linn-Mar and Timber Lane. That's near Bethel and the credit union out there at West Bethel. So we're going to do some stormwater work out there. Indian Village, which is on the southeast side of town. That's a very area-wise tight neighborhood, so it presents some challenges, but we have that design and we have a plan to go ahead and do some stormwater improvements out there. The Cardinal Greenway Depot, which is there on Weiser. It's a historic depot. There's some drainage issues that they've had for a long time there, as well as right out there at Weiser. And I believe Daily News had an article about that in the paper yesterday regarding Weiser and Vine and that area. So we'll be doing a drain work there. And then we have planned, but it's not quite designed yet, a couple of other stormwater projects. One would be Drum Addition, which is not in the city limits, but it is in the sanitary district, and they have some terrible drainage problem out there. So we've talked to them. We've got some plans in the works, and just folks out in Drum, just be patient with me. We're going there. So and Altshire, Adam Leach, city engineer and also MSD board member, and I have been working together to do some work out at Altshire, which is on the northeast side, to do some drainage jobs out there and some road restoration that's accompanied with that. So those are just a few of the stormwater jobs that we already have in the pipeline, so to speak, no pun intended. And so a couple of other items that Muncie Sanitary District does have our own in-house construction crew. In 2021, we did about 130 self-performed projects. We're on pace to increase that number for 2022, and then our plans are to even expand the construction crew next year. We think that that's really moving forward and well, and we're getting better and better at doing self-performance, similar to what Adam is doing with the streets and doing self-repairs on the streets. If you depend on contractors to do it for years and years and years, then when you get to do it, you have to learn how to do it. And so that's what we're doing more and more with our construction crew, and it's really working out well. We are doing, you may have seen a video that Kyle Johnson had the other day. We explained why Muncie Sanitary District is working over there at the Greenway bridges near McCullough Park. And the current Greenway bridge that crosses the river has the support pylons that supports the bridge. But that creates a hydraulic scour. Now, lately there hasn't been much of hydraulic scour because we've had no rain and the river's not very high. But when it does, it can affect and damage the Corps of Engineers levee, which we're responsible for, as well as some infrastructure that actually passes under the river. So we're going to do some work to move the Greenway to the trestle bridge adjacent to it, and then when we're finished, that existing bridge will be demolished and the pylons will be demolished down to the water line, so that'll take care of the hydraulic issues. I want to mention leaf season, because it is leaf season for everyone, as you know. Phil Reagan had an update at our board meeting yesterday. I just wanted to go ahead and reiterate. Phil gave me the information, so I hopefully don't get it wrong, that if you have trash routes that are Monday and Tuesday, the leaves will be picked up on Tuesday, and Wednesday through Saturday routes will be picked up on Saturday. We ask that the leaves are not put in blue bags. Please put them in lawn or leaf bags, and put them on the curb and not in the toters. And we will pick them up, and we'll be doing that. Depends, but usually through mid-November, just depending on weather and when people stop putting their leaves out. We have our long-term control plan, which we've had approved by IDEM for sewer separation. That's been approved since 2011. It started out as a budgeted $160 million. It was pretty evident shortly after we started putting shovels in the ground that was not going to be anywhere close to $160 million. It was going to be in excess of 200, and now the estimates are over 300, which is just crazy for anybody involved. So we have a long-term control plan amendment that we've put together. It's finished. We're going to submit that to IDEM next week, and hopefully it's going to do two things. One, if it's approved, it will allow us to save possibly up to $100 million regarding what's currently the plan versus what would be the amended plan, as well as improve the water quality from one plan to the other. So the first plan, just real quickly, would do total separation of the sewers, which means then 100% stormwater goes to the river. We've done sampling, and that's not good. And if we can do partial separation and still treat a big portion of that stormwater at the plant, then that'll help out the environment on our river itself, on White River. So hopefully it's a win-win And we hope that IDEM will take it into consideration. We've had discussions with them, so I'm optimistic that they will. We have separation jobs going on for sewer separations that are part of the plan that we've already committed to. You've noticed that College Avenue was one. That job, the road closures are finished. We've finished one down at 19th and Elliott. That's the CSO 23. We are going to kick off one down by Queen Street and Wheeling. That's CSO 7, and we have been working and close to completion of the CSO 28 partial separation. That was the Washington Street work that we did last year. The chief mentioned the Ironman. We are happy to work with the folks at Ironman and make it hopefully a waste-free Ironman, to recycle most everything that was used at the Ironman, and we are pretty happy about that. We were able to go ahead and provide recycled bowls and spoons for the soup crawl the last week at downtown at the Art Walk. And we also had a number that came to my attention this week, that with our CNG usage on our sanitation department, that we were able to save about this year about $130,000 in diesel cost if we had been using diesel instead of CNG. So those are all good news that we love to have. Those are real dollars. That's correct. So I'd be happy to entertain questions when you have them, Michelle, and I'll pass the microphone back to the mayor.
Well, before you do
Yes, sir.
So I just would like to know about the length of time for the Weiser and Vine. Do you know?
The Bowen has quoted in the Daily News that should be about 3 weeks. I read it today. I wrote it down. I want to say 3 weeks, but it could be 3 months. I don't think it's 3 months. We were really good at communicating with the East Central Neighborhood Association about Washington Street, because that was an obvious. They have the festival there and everything else. And I'll take it upon me that I didn't communicate with them as well as Weiser and Vine, because it was off my radar that it was still part of their neighborhood association. And we have since and told them what we're doing. And we took into consideration a couple of their suggestions on road closures. They had some good suggestions about what they prefer to have closed and not closed due to bypass traffic. We obviously wanted to listen to that, and we tried to make that happen. Again, the Daily News had an article about that today, and I can also confirm that with Alec Goodall of Bowen to make sure that we have a specific time frame so that can be passed on to everyone.
Okay, very good.
All right.
I can actually speak to that one a little bit. Adam reached out to me to put out some publications about that project a few weeks ago, and when I spoke with Bowen on the phone, it looked like they would be done by November 4th. So it looks like the 3 week
3 weeks is better than 3 months.
Better than 3 months, yes. So that intersection is still going to be open to local traffic, but we are asking, or they are detouring larger trucks around the area just to be respectful of that
And that
neighborhood.
is part of the depot project. And that project runs from there north all the way along the Greenway until it discharges to the river, right near where the trestle and the Greenway work is being done.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That was extremely informative. I think we'll start out. We've gotten a range of questions, and I'll do my best to group them as makes sense. We have a couple questions about hotels, so we'll pass it back to the mayor. First of all, has Hilton updated the city as to their plans to construct a Home2 Suites adjacent to the Hampton Inn? This commenter says that this was announced 4 years ago before COVID hit. When will Hilton break ground on this project, or are there any relevant updates?
Well, I can't guarantee, or I hate to speak for Hilton, but I will say that I do know the franchise holder of that particular hotel that will be going up had indicated that they had gone through the whole process and even had a couple of small variances that got approved, And then the Hilton brand made some, my understanding is the Hilton brand made some adjustments on the look and feel of their hotels, and they had to take it back to be redesigned to match what Hilton needed for it to be constructed. So I don't know if there are any further adjustments that need to be made. I just know that they're in the process of redoing that design work. And they do intend to put a hotel there. Obviously, they've closed on the land, and they are still using that location. They were ready to go, but the brand changed the requirements for franchise holders as far as the construction. So they had to go back and redo that. So that's kind of the update. I hate to say when, but I know that they're trying desperately to get it done.
Excellent. And then without naming any brand names, is there a specific hotel getting close to signing a deal with the city for the east side? Do we have any idea what the timeline of that might be?
To be determined. So, yes, it is not one that they want announced, but it is a specific brand. I meet with them again next week, but we've had some communications with the city engineer on how to make sure the utilities can get to where they need to be. It's already zoned for variety business right at the exit ramp at the exit by the bypass memorial, so that's not an issue, so we don't have to go through that process. But there's still some activity going on between the hotel and the owner of the property, and they're still negotiating that property. So I don't know. I know they're ready to move forward, but they've got to make it, they have to secure the property, and we'll start working on getting the utilities ready to go. It's something that's coming. We're excited about that, but there's no time frame yet.
Another question for the mayor. About 2 weeks ago, we put out a press release on an ongoing investigation. This commenter is wondering if there are any updates on that. Are the employees in question still on paid leave, or do we have any more information at this time?
We really don't have any more information at this time. That investigation has begun, and once the state police are completed, then we'll make further announcements at that point. Yes, people are still on, but nobody is losing any funds over this, so we're just trying to make sure we do it properly.
Mm-hmm. Another question, which might be either for the mayor or the fire chief. This commenter wants to know about the recent possession of, quote, several new squads using EMS funds. The question is whether those were purchased before City Council voted to allow the purchase, or if there's a timeline that can be cleared up on that.
To my recollection, this was all done with the approval of City Council. We went through City Council to get everything. I met with each one of the council members prior to any of the transactions that went on.
Also for the chief, is it currently fire department protocol to have new hires sign a contract to stay with the fire department for a certain number of years in order to recoup training costs?
Not for new hires, it's not. We have a contract when we send our firefighters to paramedic school. They sign a contract that if they fail out of the school prior to graduation, that they would refund all of the money that the city has spent on that training up to that point. And then once they graduate, if they leave within 3 years, they owe us that money back for that training.
And again, for you, Chief, obviously internal personnel decisions are internal. Who is currently heading up the EMS squad?
The EMS squad?
Yes.
Or the division? The
division.
Currently, the deputy chief and myself are handling the tasks with that, and utilizing Dr. Cornello and William Gossett for any technical advice.
Have any decisions been made about who will be named as the next EMS
No.
chief?
No, there is no decision been made yet.
Okay. John, you gave such good information. No one's questioning any of it. While we have you here, Chief, since it is Fire Safety Awareness Month, can you fill us in on some basic fire safety principles you would like to be better known this time of year?
Oh, yes. As some of you know, I was the investigator prior to being appointed to chief. So with the winter weather coming in, a lot of the accidental fires that we have run across as the Muncie Fire Department has a lot to do with everyone being inside, excuse me, and using electric space heaters. I would caution everyone to not use an electric space heater that is plugged into an extension cord. They are rated with an amperage load that is designed just for the cord itself. Anything beyond that is creating resistive heating that could result in a fire in your home. And to keep your combustibles away from that electric space heater. There's accidental fires happen all the time with I hate to use the word careless, but when people don't pay attention to how close proximity things are to their space heaters. You should never leave your house with one running. With pets and with small children, they should never be left unattended. Always check your smoke detectors. The batteries should be changed every time you change your clocks, spring and fall. It's relatively simple to do. Each one of our fire apparatus carry smoke detectors. So if we're in your home for whatever reason, whether it's a medical call or a fire call or whatever, we have smoke detectors. If you can't afford them or if you're renting and you don't have them, we have them and we'll even install them for you if need be. So let's make sure that our smoke detectors are active in your homes. With today's modern furniture and furnishings in your home, you don't have a lot of time by the time you recognize that there's a fire before it gets out of control and you have no way to get out. And another thing I like to tell people is change your furnace filters. When they become clogged and it's working harder and harder to push that air, it puts stress on the motors and that can cause some serious issues as well.
Can I do a follow-up?
Please.
So I'm going to ask the chief a follow-up question, and this is just to clarify, and also it illustrates a lot of the things that happen behind the scenes to make sure or to take steps to make sure our buildings are safe. So kind of go through what would be what was required of Gilman's in order to open up their new facility. It does require fire department inspections in advance. So kind of, can you go through some of the things that you look for?
With my limited skills on state fire code, we have an inspections division that knows fire codes a lot better than I do. But when you're talking about mass storage facilities with dry goods such as wood and stuff like this, they have to be sprinkled. They have to be there has to be fire hydrants so close to that building within so many 100 feet for us to be able to get enough water to put it out if it did catch on fire. There's entry and exit. There's bulk storage too close to an exit. You've got to have panic bars. I mean, there's just a lot that goes into it. So yes, we are involved from the time it starts being built to the time it opens up as far as inspections.
Looks like we have a clarification about a previous question, asking to confirm or deny that the city took possession of the new vehicles before it was brought to the council.
I do not, I don't recall. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was some time ago. I don't recall. I mean, I don't think that we may have.
Are they all in service?
They are not in service yet, but
They're still not in service.
correct.
No, not a problem. Yeah, sounds like we would need to do a little bit more digging on that. Okay. Let's go back over to John Barlow. Can you give us a little bit more detail on the Ironman? I know you talked about the no waste efforts. How successful was that effort this year, and what do you think we could improve on next year?
Well, I'll give credit where credit's due. Jason Donati was the one that brought this up to me, as he's wanting to do on several items that have to do with recycling, and mentioned to me that in the past at the Ironman that there was a lot of waste. It wasn't intentional, it's just how it worked. And not just with plastic bottles and that stuff, but with unused water, unused or once used equipment and that kind of thing. And so he said, hey, we've got a plan with our sanitation department partnering with, and then talking to the organizers in the city and everything else to be able to say, hey, look, we can have pallets donated so that we can put all the unused bottled water. There was a bunch of bottled water that doesn't get used. So we were able to go ahead and put that to various places around town, whether they were schools, charitable organizations. The same thing with some of the athletic equipment that was used either once or not used, as well as all the trash with our toters. And I had updated the board at our last board meeting with the actual amount of pounds of recycled. I don't have that here in front of me. My understanding, though, is Jason said that it was nearly then a waste-free event, which was, again, it's something that can happen now every year that we know how to do it, and probably if there was any spillage, so to speak, that we can even make it more efficient next year. And the other thing I'll give him credit to was the Muncie Clean and Beautiful, I think, came to him about the soup crawl is one of the most popular of the art walks that we have. A lot of the people who go to the soup crawl said that their only criticism about it was the fact that styrofoam bowls and plastic spoons were used, neither of them which are readily recyclable. Styrofoam's not at all. So he said, hey, what about buying 15,000 bowls and 15,000 spoons that are all made of recyclable material? And I said, that'd be great. I'd love it. And we can do it. It wasn't very expensive. And we saw the mayor imbibing in some soup that evening, too, with Sherry. And as we were eating at Vera Mae's. So we saw a lot of people out there with him. We were happy to do that. And these are the things that the chief and I were talking about before we went on the air about staff, and about how if you've got great staff, then it just makes your life easy. And I knew that when I took this job, that there was just great staff on hand. And you have people like Jason and all my department heads and everything, and they bring ideas up to me. And if we can possibly do them and they're good ideas, we're going to do them. And you know, they're community enhancements. That's what we're here for.
And you may know more of the details, but there was a really nice article. If you go to munciejournal.com, there was a really nice article in the munciejournal.com that talked about the efforts of the Sanitary District and Jason on that Ironman event. So you can get further details if you want exact numbers. I think some of those were in that article,
Yes.
I believe. But that's another option for people to get more details on it. But it was very impressive.
Definitely. And we definitely appreciate the work that you do. It's absolutely community enhancement. One more question for the fire chief. what would you say to someone who is pursuing a career in firefighting or EMS? I know you've had several new hires this year. Are there misconceptions about the field that you would want to clarify, or what advice would you give to a future firefighter?
That's a great question. With the advent now of us doing the EMS service as well, the training that goes into being a firefighter in the city of Muncie is extensive. When we hire our new firefighters, they go through months of training. If they do not have their EMT prior to being hired, they have to have that within the first year. And we supply that class for them free of charge so that they can get that, but that's required within the first year of hire. But they also need to get other national certifications, Firefighter 1 and 2, hazmat, ops, and awareness. There's just so many things and so many weeks of training that go into it before they can even get on the floor. If I could, mentor someone that thought that they wanted to become a firefighter when they grow up, Muncie is not the only department in the country that requires EMT within the first year. There's some departments even here in Indiana that if you're not an EMT already, you can't even apply. So I would advise any young person that thinks that firefighting is in their blood and this is what they want to do is to get your EMT prior to turning 21 and trying to get into the fire service, because that's going to be the thing to have before you can even apply in most places.
Excellent.
We do have openings, but we are going to be appointing from our hiring list new personnel at the next Merit Commission meeting.
Excellent. I was able to find that Muncie Journal article. It looks like about 2 tons of material was collected after the race, but instead of that going to a landfill, 1.3 tons were recycled, and the rest was transported to a waste-to-energy center, so it was incinerated and put to good use there. So we're very, very proud of that effort. Well, we have about 15 minutes before we have to shut the lights off, but I'm not receiving any new questions. Do any of you have final comments that you'd like to put out?
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Just that I just really am happy with the partnership that Muncie Sanitary District has had with this city administration. It's been very constructive, very positive, and I've been in my position since September of 2020, and the cooperation has just been tremendous. I'm just happy. I appreciate you and the staff that you have and working with everybody here. Even though we're separate entities and everything else, we're working at the same goal, and that's for this city. And the fact that I'd like to say we're spreading the wealth is here. It's not, whether it's the work we're doing or the work that the city's doing, it's going to various geographical areas of this town. Because everybody who lives in Muncie, it doesn't matter if you're on the north, south, east, west side. You're a citizen here, and so it's really amazing because I see it close up. About we're hitting areas that have never been hit before, as far as on improvements and enhancements, and that just speaks to you, Mr. Mayor, and we're Muncie Sanitary District are committed to keeping that up ourselves.
Oh, yes, because there was one thing that I forgot to mention while we're talking about Ironman, that I needed to thank our partners that assisted us with that event, with Eaton EMS and Newcastle EMS, as well as anyone and everyone else that offered to help or did help with that event, because that day was a very massive undertaking for all of our resources at the Muncie Fire Department. So we had to reach out for assistance, and for that I'm eternally grateful. Thank you.
And then I'll just add that I'm really proud of our teams and the various departments, and appreciate. It's hard for me to believe that it's been since September of 2020, right in the middle of COVID, that you took over. But it has been 2 years now. So I appreciate the collaboration that we've been able to put together, because anything that you're able to fix is a benefit to our city, and anything we're able to do is a benefit to our city. So that collaboration is important. I appreciate that. And then I appreciate the chief on how the fire department continues with all these runs. That EMS, you guys are you're just busy. You've got a lot of runs, and we in the city, we appreciate it. On behalf of the citizens, we appreciate those efforts that you take to make sure that we are safe with your requirements on the training, and the fact that we require the EMT license means that those firefighters can be out there helping on an ambulance as necessary. And we've got several ambulances out running now, and some do ALS service, some do BLS service, and we appreciate the part that you have played and your team has played. So really proud of all of our departments. We are trying to put in some steps and procedures that make us a better city, and try and solve things for long term. That's the bottom line. We're not trying to do quick fixes. We're trying to come up with ways that we make our city better long after we are gone. When my grandkids are 30 years old, we want this city to be in a better position, and we're trying to take those steps. And it takes good leadership at the department's heads, and I appreciate your efforts on that, and from the other departments. So, Michelle, unless you have some other questions, I'll just turn it back to you.
Fantastic. We did get one question, which I can go ahead and answer, which was why we're not in the auditorium this evening. There was a scheduling conflict with, I believe, the Police Merit Commission, so we want to make sure that they have the space they need to get that job done. But we are hopeful that we can move back into the auditorium just so it's a little bit more accessible. But otherwise, we're very grateful to Mark for making sure that all of our technology is working and our live stream is up to date. Thank you, everyone, to tuning in. It's important that we receive your comments and questions so that we can do our job better and hopefully answer any of the questions that you have. But we'll go ahead and wrap a little bit early this evening, and we will see you again next month.